All right, welcome to Lunch Break Live on this Friday afternoon. It's a nice, warm fall day here in Colorado, and we can tell fall is here. It was in the 40s this morning, but it's back up to the 80s this afternoon. But hope everybody's having a great day. Today, I want to start off talking about a topic that is very close to close to me from a passion perspective, I guess I should say. I don't really know how to word that. But it's something that I know a lot about, I'm really passionate about, and it's what I do in my day job, and that is email marketing. So I'd said in the post that I made on Instagram that we're going to talk about email marketing today, and what specifically I want to talk about is what you're doing wrong if you're using email, chances are, and how to do it the right way, how to use email marketing the right way. So that's the topic that I'm going to start with. But of course, as always, as you have questions either about what I'm talking about or anything else, then go ahead and drop those in the chat. If you are watching, go ahead and just say hi in the chat, whether you have a question or not. I'd love to know that you're here. But let's dig into email. So many of you, I can almost guarantee, if you're using email in your business, you're using it wrong. Or maybe you know that you should use email, but you don't know where to start. You don't know what you actually should be doing. How do you effectively use email marketing? Because if we take a step back and think, well, do we need to use email marketing? And is that right for a screen print business? The easy answer is yes. The more definitive answer is, if you look at something that's really popular, and that is, posting on social media and then taking that a step further and doing social media advertising, many people will see email marketing as advertising. And they will make the mistake of thinking that what they send in email should be ads or promotions or deals or discounts. And if that's what you're doing with your email, if each email that you send to your list of customers and whoever subscribed for your email, if each of those contain things like, here's 20% off, or buy 100 shirts for this price, or here are our packages, then you're not getting the most value out of email. And if you're focused 100% of your promotional strategy, not promotion as in discounts and things, but promotion as in promoting your business, your marketing strategy is to post on social media and nothing else, then that can be very lucrative, very beneficial, very impactful. But just know that they can change the game at any time. So you're building your business on someone else's foundation. So that's why email is so important, because no one can take that email list from you. You own that, and you will always maintain ownership of your email list. So you can always contact those people, whether your website's down or, Facebook goes away completely, or Instagram goes away, or Snapchat, or TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever, all of them, they can go away or change the game at any time. And so that can destroy your business if you've built a foundation based on their property. So email allows you to build it on your property. So where do we get started with email, and why should you? Well, let's go back to that social media advertising for a second. Social media advertising, a good campaign is going to be about a 5-to-1 return. And I've talked about this before. If you've watched any of my videos, you probably have heard me talk about this exact phrase. Social media advertising, 5-to-1 return. That may seem like a great return, but email marketing, when done correctly, should yield about a 40-to-1 return. So I don't know about you, but that makes it very easy for me to make a decision on where I want to invest my money and my time in promoting my business. And so email is going to be way more beneficial, but you have to do it correctly. So let me tell you a story really quick about an email that I just sent 2 weeks ago to my list. It might have actually been the beginning of last week. So it's been about 2 weeks since I sent this email. And I sent it to my list of customers. Most of them are people who have purchased from me before, but there's a subset of people who have never purchased from me, but they have agreed to let me send them emails. And that email that I sent to them, it was very basic, and it just simply says, hey, it's the time of year, fall is here. It's time to start thinking about hoodies. Here are my recommendations for the top, quality or trending hoodies that you can consider. And I didn't just list the hoodies. I listed the hoodies, included a picture of them, and included some details about what makes that hoodie an attractive option to them. So, and then I just sent that email. So I didn't say anything about pricing. I didn't say anything about discounts or how many you need to order or any sort of packages or even how to order. I simply sent them that email that listed all of this information, and the value that it provided for them was not only was it keeping me top of mind and helping them to maintain a familiarity with me because I'm keeping in touch with them, but also if they were considering hoodies, I did the research for them. And so they didn't have to come to me and ask the questions about them. They didn't have to ask what the material makeup was. They didn't have to ask what the fit was like, how many color options there were. I did all of that research for them and included that in the email. And then links to each of the respective brand sites for whichever hoodies I included. Now, I sent that email last week and I got 5 orders from one email. And I know they're from this one email because they replied to that email. 4 out of the 5 started the email by saying, hey, perfect timing. I've been meaning to look at getting some hoodies for my team, or I really want to have some hoodies ready for the fall. And so it was just, I was there at the right time, and all I did was provide value for them. And I got 5 orders. So if you think about the return on that email, it took me, 30 minutes to put that email together. And it cost me nothing to send that to my list. And I used a free system to do it. I use Klaviyo as my customer management system. So my CRM, customer relationship management. And so Klaviyo is my CRM and my email marketing service, and it was free. So it took me 30 minutes. It cost me nothing. And the profit I'm going to make off of these 5 orders, it will be well over $1,000, almost $2,000 probably. So think about the return on that. That is an incredible return. And again, I didn't say anything about pricing. I didn't say that they would get a discount. All I did was provided value to make their life easier. And so they came back to me and said, this is perfect. I really wanted to do some hoodies. And then they would send 2 of them actually sent me screenshots of the 2 of 2 separate ones inside of that email that they wanted pricing on. So and in fact, the 5th one that didn't say perfect timing, I want hoodies, all they said was, hey, thanks for the reminder. I'm ready to place that order that we talked about a month ago. And so it was just that initial like, hey, I'm still here. Hey, didn't you want to order some things? That way I'm not reaching out begging, hey, didn't you want to order? I need your order. It was, hey, here's some value. And they're like, oh yeah, that's right. I've been meaning to place a t-shirt order. Or, oh man, this is great. I've been meaning to research hoodies and they just did it for me. So now they're going to come back and do business with me. So 5 orders, the return on those emails, it's just, that is not out of the ordinary. Okay. That is pretty typical email marketing. Every time I send an email to my list of my screen print business, not to my startup screen printing list, it's 2 separate businesses, to my actual print shop where I'm printing orders. Every time I send an email to them, I always get emails back saying, hey, perfect timing. I usually get at least 1, sometimes 2. And this time I got 5 or 4 that were actually saying perfect timing. Usually the emails will lead to between 2 and 4 orders. So this was one of the better performing ones this year. But again, I preach this all the time. You don't want to be sending promos and ads in your email. So what do you want to send? Well, if we go back to this email that I send and really dissect it and think of your purpose for your email list, the purpose for an email list and how an email list is most properly managed is by taking that list of people and emailing them on a consistent basis and providing them with value that helps them where they're at. And that can be, top tips for retail brands, has nothing to do with the printed apparel, or maybe it's just, here's how to best portray your brand on your shelves, your t-shirts on your shelves, or if it's if most of your list, or you want to do subsegments of your list, which is a great idea if your list is big enough. segment them out into different categories like nonprofits and schools and retail shops and things like that. So maybe you're sending an email to nonprofits and you want to say top 5 fundraising strategies of 2024, and so that can include t-shirts, but it can include other things too. So the purpose there is to provide value for that person. How do you help them be more effective at their job or in their business? And then that's going to cause reciprocity so that they then they're thankful to you for that value you provided, even if you've never printed for them. And so then they're going to want to do business with you, or next time that they think they need t-shirts, you're going to be the one that pops into their mind because they remember that you helped them before and you provided value to them and that you send them emails. And then even aside from the value stuff, the reason that it needs to be on a consistent basis is because this is how you really benefit with social media too. It's not about having the best content on social media. It's about staying familiar in the eyes of your audience. So they come to know who you are. And they do that not by the type of content that you post. They do that by how often they see you. Sometimes that's because you're commenting on their things, or you're sharing their things, or you're tagging them in posts. So you want to really impact the local area and gain some new business through social media. Comment on the business's posts that you want to do business with. Share their stuff. Encourage them. Tag them. Do the things that keep you coming up in their feed, that keep you coming up in their mind, because then they'll gain and maintain a familiarity with you. And so that's when they're going to choose to do business with you. So if they're familiar, you've already got a one-up from the competition. But that, I just can't state it enough with email. If you are not doing email marketing in your screen print business, no matter how big or small your business is, it is the best time to start an email list was yesterday. The next best is today, right? So start it if you haven't already. And even if there are just 5 people on that list, send them value at least once a month, at a minimum, once a month. If not once a month, if you can do more, do twice a month. If you can do 4 times a month, whatever you can maintain on an ongoing basis. If you know that you can't maintain any more than once a month, then don't commit to any more than that. But if you need to be on a consistent basis and as frequent as possible, with some caveats. You don't want to be, 3 times a week or every day. You don't want to overwhelm your audience. There are certain audiences that are okay with that. If you start something that is called a daily newsletter and you're open about that, then people expect it daily. But that's a lot to keep up with. So at a minimum, a screen print shop should be sending emails to their list once a month. Now, how do you get people on the list? Well, they either do business with you. When they submit a quote, you can include a checkbox saying, do you want to be on my marketing list? But the best thing is to provide them some value for free up front. Maybe that is a PDF download that says, top 5 apparel items for 2024. And it's just a PDF that you put together in Word, and then you save it as a PDF and you promote that to people that you're basically doing the research for them. Here are the top items, or here are this year's featured colors, or whatever you can think of that serves the audience that you're trying to serve, to gain as customers. If you're going just after like blue collar, mechanics and construction workers and things like that, then you want to develop something that is a little more geared towards them. Like I said earlier, if you're going towards a retail audience, then come up with a PDF download that is about a topic that's specific to the retail audience, or if it's nonprofit, specific to a nonprofit audience. You should decide on a niche that you want to serve, and every screen print company should not exist to serve just whoever in their area wants screen printing. You're going to struggle to grow your business that way. You need to serve a certain type of customer and focus 100% on that type of customer and speak their language and be the go-to in that industry. The rest of that will come organically, but you focus your effort on serving one market and doing that really well. Then you won't compete on price. But find that market, develop a PDF download for them, and then give that away on your website for free. Say, subscribe to my email list. I'll give you this download for free. And that's how you get people to join your list. So one thing I do want to mention, though, about an email list, and this is very important, it is not illegal in America to send someone an email that didn't ask for it. It is still spam, and it is still a very risky way to do business, and it's not what you want to do with your email list. If you do not have explicit permission to email them marketing emails, or if they have never done business with you, do not send them a marketing email. Okay. If they fill out a quote form and you have a checkbox that says sign up for my newsletter and they don't check that box, do not send them an email. Okay. If they unsubscribe and they've already signed up before, now they unsubscribe, don't ever send them an email again. So don't add people just because they were a potential customer or you think they would like to hear, or they're a local business and you got a list from the local Chamber of Commerce. And so you're going through adding emails of local businesses that you're going to send out. That's called cold email. And you should be doing that one by one out of your actual email program. So don't send marketing emails to people who are not explicitly signed up for your email list that say, yes, send me marketing emails, because there is no value in emailing somebody that never agreed to send your emails. Not only are you making them mad, but you're risking never having them as a customer because you're doing something they never allowed or gave you permission to do. But people's email address is very private. It's very they hold on to that. So somebody gives you their email, and they say, yes, you can send me marketing emails. What they're doing is saying, hey, is the volume low again? It looks like it's turned up, Levite. So I'm showing it on my end. Let's make sure though. Yeah. Okay. It might just be on your end because I just checked the stream on my own phone and volume seems to be fine. So yeah, to back to email, like if people have given you the ability or the permission to email them, then that's a very important thing to them. So you don't want to be someone who's convinced of spamming or emailing people that never gave you permission. But on the other hand, if they have given you permission, what they're saying is, hey, if you give me the right amount of value, I'm ready to spend money with you. It's like, that's a big deal. And so an email address is very important. In fact, it is said that an email list should be worth about a dollar a month per subscriber per month. So it may even be more than that. I want to say it might be more than that. But anyways, 40-to-1 return on email marketing. So I noticed that T. Lopez mentioned 10 DLC compliance. So this is very similar to email. This is with SMS, so text messaging. And if you're using something like I mentioned, I use Klaviyo. If you're using Klaviyo and you are doing email marketing through there, it also gives you the ability to have a 1-800 number and do text messaging. And so have people to sign up for your text message list. And so you do want to be sure that you are maintaining that 10 DLC compliance. And if you do it through a system like Klaviyo, it will require that you do that. And so you have to submit an application. You have to get approved based on what type of messages you are going to be sending. And then once you do that, then you'll have that 10 DLC compliance. So that's what this person is referring to there with that comment. So it is very important. There are things in other countries and in Canada and California called the can spam, and then the oh my gosh, what's the European one? Oh, it just left me. I do this every day for my job and I can't even think of it. But anyways, it's basically saying if someone says they don't want to hear from you, you got to delete all their stuff and they got a double opt in. So you set something up on your website that says subscribe here, and then you need to send them another email that says, are you sure? Click here to confirm. That's a double opt in. But okay, so given all of that, does anybody have any questions about email marketing, or has anybody been doing email marketing? And have you had any success in certain types of emails? Do you feel like you haven't had any success? There's been any roadblocks? Are you curious about which system to use? Whatever questions you might have about email marketing. Again, this is what I do for my career and my day job is I help large Fortune 100. And in fact, one of them is in the Fortune top 10 companies do their email marketing. And so on a daily basis, I'm working with email programs that are sending to over 2 million people. So I want to help you with this, and it's very important and it's extremely valuable for you. I just had a friend the other day who he has a YouTube channel, and his channel got taken down by YouTube as a result of a misunderstanding. It was kind of an automated thing, and while it was under review, it got taken down completely. And then his immediate response was, "This is why an email list is so important, because if something happens to this channel, I need an email list of people that I can email and say, hey, you can find me over here." You know, and so that's one of the huge benefits to email. Let's see here. Looking to start, what's the best to start? So if you have never done any email marketing for your screen print business and you're looking to get started and you want to know what are some of the first things you need to do? First of all, you need to decide on a system that you want to use. I recommend, let's see, I'm going to put some in the comments. I think this would be one of them. Yeah. So this is going to be a very good one to get started with. This is ConvertKit. It actually just rebranded to Kit. That's a good one. And then I also have Klaviyo is what I use. HubSpot is a good one to get started with, but it's pretty advanced. Honestly, Kit's going to be the best. ConvertKit is going to be the best and easiest to get started with. If you want to do SMS campaigns in addition to email, I don't know that that's necessary. I think email is so impactful and valuable on its own that it's not necessarily a huge added benefit for you to also add on SMS unless you are just confident that you can take on the added work there. But Klaviyo.com this is what I use for my business. I use Klaviyo. So sign up for something: MailChimp, HubSpot, Klaviyo, ConvertKit. There's any number of email hosting platforms, email sending. And they're going to send you through the process of getting your email working. It is highly recommended that you go through the process, and they will take you through it, of setting up your own domain name so that the email comes from your business domain name. And along with that, it will show you how to do some of the back-end things that are called DKIM and SPF and DMARC. So those basically tell an email inbox that you are who you say you are, and this email is coming from who it says it's coming from. It keeps you out of the spam folder. If you run into issues with DKIM, DKIM, DMARC, DMARC, or SPF, and you can't figure that out, reach out to me and I will help you, because again, I do these things on a daily basis. But get set up on one of those email systems, get ready to send emails, and then the first thing you need to do is create a form that people can fill out an email or fill out to sign up for your email list, and put that on your website, or use a landing page that ConvertKit will help you build. It's free to do that on there as well. So use a landing page builder that comes with those systems. Or get it attached to your website. And then the second thing you need to do is just write a quick 3 email welcome series. This doesn't have to be complicated. It's basically super simple. It's just an email that when they sign up for your email list, that you're going to email them the next day that says, hey, thanks for joining. Welcome to X screen printing business. My name is such and such. Here's what you can expect as being enrolled in this email newsletter. Here's what now that you've joined this list, here's what you can look forward to. Here's what I do. I send emails this often. Those emails contain tips like this. You're just giving the customer what to expect. And then a couple of days later, you need to send another email that says, hey, I want to tell you a little bit more about me and a little bit more about the business. And so you do a little bit of a bio. And then the last email is just, hey, here's what it's like to order stuff. Here's kind of how you do business with me. And those are just 3 emails that are going to send within the first week just to because when they signed up, they want to hear from you. So when they hear from you a lot that first week, and those systems will help you set up an automated version to do all of that. It will be super easy and you can schedule it and it will automatically do that as people join your list. So you don't have to remember to send that email to each person every single time. So set up a welcome series, have a form that people can join your list, and then start working on a lead magnet. And that is that PDF download that is some sort of value to the specific audience that you're trying to serve, that's unique to them and valuable to them, that you can provide for free as a result of them being willing to give you their email address. And then aside from that, just start writing emails on a consistent basis, and you get to decide how consistent that is or what that cadence is. Again, once a month at a minimum, I would recommend. Twice a month is pretty ideal. Like twice a month is a really good standard for your business. If you do every week, then fantastic, but that's a lot to keep up with. You're really probably going to want to write your emails ahead of time and do it that way. But once a month is at a minimum. It should be easy for you to do that. Take 5 minutes. One thing that you'll see in these email building programs that'll be very tempting is to do these fancy layouts and these really attractive designs and all these photos and things like that. Don't do that. You can get to that at some point if you want to, but just write a plain text email, make it super clean, super simple. You can add some images if you want to, if necessary, but don't overcomplicate it and don't write some fancy email, especially if you are a solo person and the customer knows that they are just dealing with you. Then it's going to be an email that comes from your email address and you want it to feel like you wrote them an email. Okay. So if they feel like they got an email from you, they're going to take the time to read that. And if it looks all fancy, like a typical, retail newsletter, they're not necessarily going to take the time to read it. But if it looks like an email that you sent them, then they're going to take time to read that. Now, again, you can transition to that at a later date where you're actually using some of these designed and pre-made templates and that looks a little more official or more attractive. But that's after you've established that you're the one behind this and after you've established a good response rate of your emails. So don't be tempted by all that stuff. Just keep it super basic. Don't overthink it. And don't try to use your email as an advertising platform. That is not what it's for. And you will not see the value of email if you're just sending ads. People don't want ads in their email. They want those to go to spam folder and get filtered out. They don't want ads. They don't want, in fact, the customers that you want don't even want discounts and coupons. They want value. They want to see that there's a reason they joined this list and it's paying off for them. So if the only response you get out of an email is whenever you send a coupon, then you got the wrong list. You need to change what it is that you've provided in the beginning to get them to join that list. So that goes back to the lead magnet. That lead magnet needs to be a little taste of what it's like to be on your list. Because if it is the same as what's on your list, then what you're sending, then they're going to continue to enjoy it and you're not going to have as many people unsubscribe. But if you say, sign up here and here's a free, really valuable piece of content, and then every month you just send them, hey, please buy. Hey, buy 100 shirts. Hey, here's 20% off. Hey, please buy this. They're just looking at it going, I don't need to do that. I'm not ready to buy stuff. But if you're sending value, they always open your emails because they know that you're not here to sell them stuff. You're here to help them in whatever it is they're trying to achieve. And as a screen print business, our purpose is not to provide decorated apparel to our customers. Our purpose is to help other customers achieve whatever it is they're trying to achieve. That they come to us because they feel like they can achieve that through decorated apparel. So if it's a nonprofit, they're trying to raise money. So my goal as a screen printer is not to give them printed apparel. It's to help them raise money by printing some apparel for them. And so if I can help them raise money other ways as well, and I can help give them some value that way, then they're now seeing me as an asset in their business. And that signing up for that email list is something that they want to continue to be a part of because it serves them. Okay. So, great question on getting started. I hope that's helpful. I've thought about doing a couple of workshops and webinars and things about like the nuts and bolts of actually really getting this stuff set up and like walking you step by step through setting up an email newsletter, and really focusing on email in your marketing. So I'd love to know in the comments, if that sounds interesting, if anyone would like to be a part of something like that, or if you think that would be valuable to you. Because much like I'm just saying with your screen print business serving your audience, I'm here not as a screen print business. I'm here as a content creator, a coach, a consultant, trying to help you grow your business. So I want to do some things. I want to provide some valuable resources that help you do that. And this weekly live Q&A is just one way that I have determined that I can do that on a weekly basis, and I can show up each week whether anyone does or not, and provide some content for free. So if going deeper on this email stuff is of value, I'm happy to do that. I did go a little deeper on the strategy part in my business course. So if you haven't taken my business course, I really lay out a foundation. Every 7 sessions over 7 hours of content where we go step-by-step deep dive into finding your niche, starting your business, setting up business processes, establishing your pricing strategy, dealing with customers and customer service situations, the production efficiency in your business. And we spent an entire session talking about marketing. And so much of that is email marketing and digital marketing and what should you really be focusing on in your business. So if any of that is a blocker for you or a current struggle in your business, or you want to be confident that you're headed in the right direction, then go over to my website and get my business course. Because again, I'll help you lay a solid foundation so that at the end of that course, if you go through all of those sessions and you take your time, that you will have all of the information and confidence that you need to start and grow and maintain a profitable business. I can almost guarantee it because I've done it myself. I've helped other businesses do it through these same strategies, and I know they work. So if that's any value to you, then go check out that business course. But what else? What other questions might we have? That was about a half hour of email content. And as you guys can see, like I said, it's something I'm very passionate about. I know the value in it because I do this stuff at a very high level at work. Not like high level eagle eye high, but high level as in performance high. So I know it works. And anybody who comes in and says email doesn't work is just not doing it correctly. So I guarantee it. If email is not working for your business, you're not doing it right. Because it will work 100% of the time if it's done correctly. And it will work very well. Very well. So again, like if you missed the beginning of this, I mentioned an email that I sent last week to my audience. That email brought in 5 orders. Just that email. So the value of that email, thousands of dollars. But the effort and investment it took me to do it, a half an hour and no money. But the return was literally thousands. So don't sleep on email. It is worth it to figure out how to make it work, and how to do it correctly. So what else? What other questions do y'all have? Maybe screen printing questions, maybe business questions, maybe questions about anything. My Atlanta Braves got put out of the playoffs as expected. So it's been kind of a bum week from that perspective. If any of you are sports fans or baseball fans, if you're a Mets fan or a Phillies fan or a Dodgers fan, I don't want to hear from you. Hello, Mel. Nice to see you. If any of you are not following Mel at Little Minor Designs, be sure you do that. Levite Apparel as well has also chimed in the chat, so be sure you follow those people. Great folks over there. But what else? Anything else on email marketing? Then I want to transition a little bit to automation. So I kind of teased in my post on Instagram that I wanted to talk about how automation can save you hours and literally thousands of dollars in your business. If you're if you're watching this and you're like me, you're running a business either solo or there's just a few people in your print shop or it's on the side. Oh no, Mel is a Philly fan. Well, good for you though. The Phillies deserve to be where they're at. So they've had a great year and they deserve it. So if you are running a business on your own and you're starting your screen print business on the side, there are some things you could do to save you time. And I want you to start considering these things. So one of those that has saved me time and I feel like has saved me thousands of dollars is automation. This is something else that I do in my day job. I do email marketing, strategy consulting for marketing, and I do email automation or marketing automation on the tech side. So I do a lot of the programming and development stuff of the email templates and a lot of the back end things. So I recently have finished putting together my business management system, and I use Airtable to do that. And some of the automations that I've set into play are things that do things like creating an invoice for me automatically, or creating an art proof automatically, or notifying a customer once an order gets to a certain stage automatically. So what you want to look for are what are the things that you're doing over and over that take you longer to stop and focus on it than it does for you to actually do it. And I'll give you an example. Every time I finish an order, I need to email or text my customer and let them know, hey, your order's ready. It's available for pickup, or it'll be ready for delivery this day, or it's shipped and here's the tracking number. So I need to let them know what the status is once it's completed and boxed and ready to be finalized at that point. Now, that takes probably 20 minutes to sit down, pull open email, find the customer's email address, open up an email to them, find the tracking number, whatever I need to do, and send that email to the customer to let them know. It takes 5 minutes to actually do it, but it takes 20 minutes of your time probably to stop what you're doing, sit down on your computer or change to a different application on your computer, focus on that, think about what you're doing, get it done, and then get back into whatever it was you were doing before. So that's about a 20-minute turn on average. So that's something that should not take 20 minutes of your time. Not because you should do it faster, but you shouldn't have to do it. Okay. So what I've done in my system is whenever I mark an order and a lot of shop management software will do this for you, but you don't necessarily have to pay for those, but you can look for ways to do this. And I use something called Make. So make.com, and I use Amazon SES to send my email notifications. And I use Airtable to do all this. So when I mark an order as complete, my Airtable says, "Oh, it's complete. We need to notify the customer." And it goes over to Make, and it says, "Hey, this order is now complete." And Make goes, "Oh, great. Well, let's grab the information from it." And it goes back to that order and says, "All right, looks like this one was going to be picked up. So we need to let the customer know it's ready to be picked up." And so Make then goes to Amazon SES, which is simple email service. And Amazon SES, and it creates an email, and it plugs that customer's email address in, and it plugs the customer's name in, and it plugs the name of the order in, and it plugs whether it was delivered or delivery or pickup or shipping in, and it writes that email, and then it sends that email to the customer. and it says, and all of this happens in under 30 seconds. So all I do is I just change a toggle from in production to complete. And then it immediately kicks off the things and does all of that. And then it notifies and does all of that work for me. So I went from 20 minutes to do this task that was a very simple, basic task to 30 seconds and it's done for me. And it looks professional and it looks like it came from me. The customer has no idea that I didn't actually do it, but it looks really great from my business. And so the customers appreciate those notifications. So take some time to go look at things like Make, or Zapier is another one. It's another one that does these automations and stuff. And you might get over to these and go, well, I don't know how to do all of that. Find something. All you got to do is think of what is the one thing, maybe just keep this in the back of your mind. And the next time you do something, you're like, man, this is that one thing that I do over and over that drives me crazy because it takes me 20 minutes every time, but it's not a very detailed task. It's not a very complicated task. Then there's probably a way to automate it. And so you're missing an opportunity there to save you a ton of time and to automate the back end of your business. It doesn't have to be something you pay for. All of this stuff is done through free services. So Amazon SES has a free tier. Make has a free plan that will do all of this stuff. Airtable, a free plan. It will do all of this stuff. So none of these cost money. You just have to set them up. So find out what it is you're trying to automate and then look on YouTube and find where somebody else has automated the same thing, or reach out to me and I'll tell you how to do it, or I'll help you do it. But automation is something that not a lot of people think about, but it can be a game changer for your business because it can save you time to focus on things that are actually making you money instead of the things that are draining or more work than they should be, or repetitive, or redundant. And you want to automate those things. So it can get complicated, but I just want to encourage you to dig into it a little bit, to look for the things you can automate, because I guarantee if you think you can, there probably is a way to automate it. Because like I said, in my business management system that I've set up in Airtable, I can essentially plug in the information just like I would in a spreadsheet, and it creates a nice visual PDF of the invoice. And then I tell it to I click a button and it creates a Stripe invoice and sends that invoice to the customer with the other one as attachment. And then they pay, and then it updates my system saying they paid. And then it creates an art proof and a Pantone label, and it does all this stuff like that. And I don't have to do it anymore. So all I did was put the information in once, and it replicates it everywhere it needs to, notifies the proper parties, and does everything that I used to have to do on my own, one by one. It does it all for me. And so look for ways to set up something like that, because I think you'll be very glad that you took the time to set up the automation to save you thousands of dollars over the life of sometimes a year. All right, we got a question here. Is there a reason you don't run side clamps? 2 reasons. Because the press I bought didn't have them. And the second reason is they were available as an aftermarket, but these heads weren't designed to have side clamps on them. So while it may have been an upgrade from the end clamp, it is still using a press that wasn't designed to use as such. Ryanet's new 360, it was designed to accommodate side clamps. So I just didn't want to invest money in getting the aftermarket clamps for a press that really wasn't designed to hold them, because the side clamps was an afterthought for Riley Hopkins. It was an afterthought for this press. So when engineering designed the print head for this press, they were not considering side clamps. It was an afterthought. So I didn't want to add that to a press that wasn't meant to do that. So I would recommend going with 360. I would love to have side clamps. Absolutely. I wish I did. And I would like to upgrade to a 360 and get side clamps someday. But As for why I don't have them, it just simply didn't come with them, and I didn't want to spend the money to add it to something that wasn't necessarily meant to hold them. For me, others might decide to do that, but all right. What other questions do we have? Screen printing, automation, email, marketing, digital marketing, websites. Oh, here's something that's come into mind. I was curious if anybody would like to have a website audit. So one of the things that I do in my business, in my day job, is marketing strategy, digital marketing strategy, and some of that is setting up landing pages for conversion and even full websites. And so what I was considering doing is saying, hey, anybody like to have their screen print business website audited on video, where I would say, all right, well, let's take a look at what maybe could be improved about your homepage of your website, and why is your website not really getting the full value that it should be, or if you don't have a website, what should you focus on? What should be where should you put your attention, or how should it be laid out? Because there are ways that websites are laid out, and there are things that people do with websites, where it used to be where a website was a digital business card, and it's just somewhere to people find the information about your business and how to contact you. That's great. That's the most basic level. You should at least do that. But a lot of shops I see will develop their websites to look really graphical and really, really, really heavy on a design that they like, rather than what is attractive to the audience they're trying to serve. And so I was just curious if anybody would be interested in any website audits that I would do for free, as long as I could show it on video, do a video about it. Another question here from the Kyra Kid. Am I saying that right? How do I add this? There we go. Thin thread, yeah or nah? If you're doing water base, definitely yeah. I only recently, this year, at the beginning of this year, actually end of last year, got some thin thread screens, because I have the eco frames where I have some of those are thin thread. And I will say they're really great. So what I normally would use is the 156 for white. The thin thread is actually like a 160, I think. And it is, I can tell the deposit of white with that thin thread is way better. I have to, sometimes I get by with just a single stroke, depending on the look the customer's going for, but I could just tell it goes through that screen so much easier. And even the higher mesh is a 230, I think, or 220 something. And then my other screens of the regular mesh would be like if I did like a 220 or 230, I can tell a difference there too, where it's letting more ink pass through, but still got that higher detail ability of the higher mesh count. So I think if you're doing water base, it's a great choice to go to thin thread. I can't really speak to the plastisol side of things. I know a lot of shops do, and they like it. The warning that you'll always see is that it's more fragile. So you could, potentially rip your screens easier. You got to be a little more careful at how you're handling the thin thread machines or thin thread frames, because they're a little more fragile. So, but if you're considering, adding thin thread to your arsenal of screens, I think it's worth trying to test it out. I think you look at what sort of issues you're having that would cause you to go to that. If you're not having any issues, then there's no reason to even change. But if there's certain things you try to do that you think thin thread might help you with, like maybe you're doing 2 strokes or 3 strokes and you feel like you could do 2, or you want a bigger ink deposit, or you're printing water base, I think absolutely go with thin thread. I think you'll be happy that you did. But do what works for you. I don't think there's like a guarantee absolute either way. It's whichever option is going to be most beneficial for you in your shop and works best in your shop, because that may not be what works in somebody else's shop. So for those that I know of that use thin thread, they do like it. So I don't see any reason not to use it. And I love it. I plan on eventually switching all of my screens over to it once the rest of my static frames kind of wear out. And I'm going to replace everything with the eco frames because that's just easier for me at my shop, being at home. And if you're a home shop and you don't have any frames and you're looking for getting the eco frames, I think it's a great choice. I can't speak highly enough of it. I think it's a great choice, whether it's the Ryonet ones or some other type of frame that can be re-screened. I think it's a great option for a home shop. A great option. Do I carry a tension meter? No, I don't, because they're so freaking expensive. Those things are just obnoxious. No, so what I do, I just really go by feel. And I can tell when a frame is getting its tension to where it's going to be a little difficult to print with. I can get by with a little less tension with water-based than you probably could with plastisol, because again, I'm not as concerned with off contact with water-based, because you really don't have to have any off contact with water-based. Unless you're printing white, you might want a little bit, but it's not as imperative as it is with plastisol. So because of that, I find that the screen tension is also not as imperative, especially when it comes to single color prints. So I try to rotate my screens as they get their tension lower. I have them really set aside for single color prints, and I save my higher tension frames for multicolor prints that are going to be in registration, because where you really start to have issues with tension is when you are registering multiple colors and the screens you're registering with, either none of them have good tension or one does and the other doesn't. You're going to have an issue getting that lined up, and it may fall out of alignment as you're printing. So you're going to really be frustrated with that. But as it's a single color print, you're not registering to anything. So there's not as many issues. In fact, I printed for years with a screen that on one side of it was loose. It had come loose from the glue completely. So I just printed on this top side, and I used it for single color prints for paid orders, and it worked great. So just because it loses on one side or it gets a hole in it doesn't mean it's done or dead. You can still use it for single color prints. But if you're doing a lot of multicolor, a lot of registration, alignment stuff, you're going to want that tension to be as high as it can be, or at least consistent across the board, across all the screens that you're using. But as far as measuring that tension, again, I've not ever been able to convince myself to spend the money to get a tension meter. And so I just go by feel. I just think, this one's substantially lower than, these ones that I have that are 6 months old. And so I go by feel. Or if I'm printing and it doesn't register, and sometimes I'm like, well, let me go burn another screen on one that has a higher tension, then it's benefited me that way too. So no, I don't think it's necessary to spend the money on one unless you just have it laying around. Just like with a PMS swatch card, those things are like $250, but it's ridiculous. Like, I don't do that. Chase Hill, how do you deal with spoilage? How many extra shirts do you order, and does your customer cover the cost? This is really dependent on the order itself, Chase. It's when I was just getting started, back in 2016 when I was starting my business, I would order every single order. I would order at least 2 of every size. And my customer had no idea that I did that. I would tell no customers. But then I would use that as, if I accidentally messed any up, then I would have extras. Then I could sometimes give those to a customer as like a generous, like, hey, here's a bonus that, here's some extras that I just threw in for you. And I would say things like, yeah, these lying around, or I wanted to give you some extras, so I threw in a few extras. They don't need to know why you did that. Then as I got more confident, I got to where I only ordered extras if it was either a multicolor job or a multi-location, because one of the most frustrating things in the world is to print the fronts and then screw up a back and have to reset up the front. And with me printing water base, it's not like plastisol where you can just leave it set up and the ink in it and it's ready to go and it's no big deal. I got to clean the screen out and, dry it and hope the emulsion didn't break down, and which I never have issues with that. So it's a bigger deal to set up and do the front again, especially if it's a multicolor print. But now what I do is it's just on a case-by-case basis. If I feel like there's either a chance, either I have a long time available to turn these around, I'm not in a rush, and I'm confident that I could order replacements if I needed to, or it's a complicated print, then I will order extras, or if I just want to give extras to this customer, or if I'm a little concerned about one aspect of it, or if it's a really nice item, or if I don't have any orders coming up for a week, and if I had to order a replacement, I'd have to pay shipping. So I'll throw in an extra then. Or if I know I can use those shirts on another order, or if I want some personally to use as shop shirts. So I take all of that stuff into consideration when I decide whether I'm going to order extras to cover myself if I were to screw any up. That being said, what happens when you screw some up and you have to deliver less than your customer wanted? Well, that's not always okay. It depends on your customer. It depends on what they're ordering the shirts from. If it's a team or a group employees, it's exact numbers most of the time. And so if you don't deliver that one medium, then, Jesse is not going to get his shirt. And so you got to deliver that one. But if it's like they're ordering bulk retail or something and they don't, their giveaways or whatever, they could do without one or two, then you just refund them however many you spoiled. But you need to let the customer know ahead of time that that's possible. You need to let them know, hey, there's always a chance that some shirts get messed up due to the nature of screen printing. If they do get messed up, you may not get the total that you ordered, but you will be refunded for what's missing. So make sure that they're aware of that and then back it up. Now, all that being said, I know some of the larger shops that do, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 shirts a day. They have a percentage spoilage that says when you place an order, you have to account for the fact that you could get 5% more or less than you ordered, because they're going to order extras and they're going to print them in whatever cadence is going to be most efficient to them. And maybe you ordered 379, but it makes more sense for them to print 400. They're going to print 400 and they're going to bill you for 400. So you have to be prepared to have that over under accounted for. Some of them don't take off if they have the screw ups. They just say, no, that's what you paid for. You paid knowing that it was going to be between these two numbers. So as long as we're between those two, you don't get a refund. But that's the bigger shops that are doing a lot, and you got to make people aware of that. If you're small, solo shop, printing at a home, just getting started, my recommendation is order 2 of every size of every type of shirt that you're printing. Not necessarily like 2X and 3X because those are more expensive, and you can use your judgment on things like hoodies. But I would recommend ordering extras, and then when you have those extras, if you print them on customers that you think would truly value it and you could earn more of their business in return, give them that extra shirt. Or take those shirts and use them as test shirts, or print your own logo on them, and just consider that added cost to just cut into your profit early on. It's not a big deal. That's basically just a learning expense. And it's something that you can write off. It's an added cost of goods sold to your business. So I think you need to take that into account with your pricing even. If you are pricing, somebody orders 150 shirts and you price based on 150 quantity, maybe you want to set up your pricing calculator to always add 10. So maybe, or always subtract 10. So maybe you want to, really cover the cost of 10 more, then you need to, instead of 150, you need to price based on 140 so that you've got that 10 allowance right there. So you're basically covering the cost of additional shirts that you're wanting to purchase. But even if not, just consider that your profit margin is a little bit lower as you gain confidence and you get more comfortable with different types of print scenarios, and then you can begin to just order exact numbers. But it really is just a case-by-case basis. All right, one more question here that I see, and then we'll call it quits. We are at time. So what excites you most about printing, and what do you find to be the most tedious task about printing? Oh, that's a great question. I love to see the print come to life. I love the actual print part. I love when I'm printing for other people's businesses and they're using those shirts or that apparel to make money, because I love playing a part in growing their business. Um, I love working with artists who are trying to make their art come to life and they don't know how that happens on apparel, and I help them do that. That's really rewarding. I honestly, what I love most about printing these days is helping other shops like you all build businesses. I don't really want my shop to be full-time gig. I've always restricted it. I've kept it small on purpose because I don't want to do this full-time. I want to do this full-time. So what really excites me is just helping people build businesses and work for themselves and market their business and promote their business and be successful and be profitable. That's what really excites me. But the tedious tasks about printing, cleaning up, cleaning platens, what else? Cleaning screens, ordering apparel, and even more so, counting in apparel. And then folding and boxing apparel. I don't like any of that stuff. I don't even like the invoicing. I don't like the bookkeeping. I don't like those parts, but it comes with the territory. I mean, if you're ordering and you haven't screwed up an order yet, you will. I'm missing shirts all the time and I just hate it. I hate counting in stuff. I put it off until the last minute and it's not good, but I do. And so those are the parts that I hate most. But what excites me most about printing Kyra Kid right now is, like I said, that printing is something that people can do to build a business for themselves, and that I have an opportunity to help them do that. And so that's what really excites me most. Screen printing is here to stay. Garment decoration is here to stay. And my passion is helping you all take those things and build a career and a full-time income that doing something that you truly love. And I truly believe screen printing can be that for all of you. And I want to play a part in helping you get there. So that's what truly excites me. All right, that's it. That will conclude us for today's lunch break Q&A. Thank you all for the questions in the chat. Love seeing you all join. I love helping this community. If you haven't joined us over at the Print Crew, be sure and do that. It's theprintcrew.com. It is a free community for screen printers where we're just over there talking about these sorts of topics. How do we help each other? What's the issues you've run into on press? What type of ink are you using? It's a safe place to ask questions if you're just getting started or of any size business. But you're not going to get judged for asking a dumb question or a rookie question. It is a safe place of screen printers who are just passionate about helping each other build businesses and build a career for themselves. And, so I really love what's going on over there. There's about 20 or so people in the community, just a few who are active, but it's building. And so I want to encourage you to join us over there at theprintcrew.com. Again, it's free, and I hope you will join. And as I say each week, what I'm doing here is supported by you. So I'm not taking sponsorships from other businesses in order to do this. I will gladly test out products if they send them to me, but I will not take sponsorships. This is community supported. So if you want to support what I'm doing here, there are ways to do that in the description, either on Patreon as a monthly giver or on Buy Me a Coffee as a one-time gift, or by buying my products on my website, shop.startupscreenprinting.com, including my business course and my graphic design workshop that I just did a couple of months ago. So templates that are on the website, my registration template, my on-press reg card, they're all in there. That supports what I'm doing and helps me keep this listener supported. So thank you all again for your time. Thanks for joining. I hope you all have a great week and that you're enjoying the fall weather. If any of you are watching this and you are in the southeastern United States, I come from East Tennessee, so I know that my area was hit pretty hard by the effects of the flooding from Hurricane Helene. If that's you and you're watching this and you either know of a shop that got affected or your shop was affected and you can't print orders, or your business is stalled for the time being, I want you to reach out to me because I want to connect you with a shop that can help you print until you're back up and running. So either that's me or it's another shop, but I want to know who needs help, and I want this community to gather around each other to help shops sustain while they rebuild, because there's just tremendous devastation down there. And so I just want to make that call out. If any of you are watching this and you're in that region and you were affected and there's some way that I can help you, I want you to reach out to me. So be sure you do that. All right. Well, that's it. Hope you all have a great week, and we'll catch you next Friday. And in fact, actually, I will be out of office next Friday, so we might miss Friday. I might bump it to another day in the week. So keep an eye on my Instagram to watch out for when the next week's lunch break is going to be. It might not be Friday, or we might do it early Friday morning or something, but I'll be out of town on Friday. So just remember that. But anyways, have a great week.